Thank you, Mr. Chair, for having us today and taking up these bills for testimony. A little bit of background to start about how these bills got started. There's a situation a number of years ago in which you had a grouse hunter who utilized FOIA to gain specific locations of where drumming surveys occurred, and the DNR conducts these drumming surveys to monitor grouse populations with the intent of using that for then pursuing the game as a hunter. Now this creates all sorts of issues because when you're able to specifically target locations, it disrupts the scientific validity of the data that you're collecting. In addition to being maybe a little bit unsportsmanlike as a practice, and so these collection of bills are designed to remedy that particular situation. And I should say, as a consequence of that, the DNR stopped doing grouse drumming surveys because the data would not have been useful for them, given that it was being FOIA'd for that purpose. So the proposed changes makes the first bill, 4736, creates an option for the DNR, if they receive a FOIA request with specific location data for a game species, that is, they can fill the request, or they can fill it conditional on the requester signing a waiver that they're not going to utilize that information to pursue or take or assist in the taking of game. And then 4735 prescribes penalties for violating that waiver, which would be equivalent to if the individual had poached the species that they were pursuing. And then 4737, updates the Code of Criminal Procedures to reflect sentencing guidelines. So I'd just like to point out a couple of items. Number one, while the situation that arose reflected grouse, this applies to any species because the department does collect data for multiple species. They do predator-prey studies and things like that. And it's also when, oftentimes we talk about FOIA exemptions. This isn't really a true exemption. It's just putting a condition on the use of the data that potentially could be FOIA'd.